Hey, I have another main speaker here today. I'm excited to introduce her. She'll be a main speaker at our 2024 He Makes All Things New Women's Retreat, and we are excited to have her back. She has been, I believe, to two previous retreats, correct?
Great.
Three. Okay.
My fourth
Sorry.
one, yeah.
The fourth one. Me too. I'm excited. Can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background and everything?
Sure. I'm Renee Best, as you can see in my title. I'm a licensed clinical mental health counselor, as well as a qualifying supervisor. I have been doing mental health therapy for probably now 5 years. So I've been with you guys most through my career in this field. So it's kind of exciting. But I do a lot of trauma work. I'm certified in EMDR. I'm certified in brain spotting now. I'm also a consultant in training for EMDR. Yeah, what does all that mean, right?
Yeah.
EMDR and brain spotting is more of a somatic approach to therapy versus just talk therapy. It allows us to kind of connect with our bodies, right? Many times we don't realize that our thoughts and our emotions and our physical beings are all connected. So that's an addition to kind of just regular talk therapy. Especially when it comes to trauma, I've seen great results with that. I am excited about coming to the retreat this year. I'm excited to discuss shame and how it connects to your how you see yourself, right? How God sees you, what plans God has for you. And what I find with many clients who have experienced trauma in their lives, they carry a lot of shame with them. They carry some guilt with them. They carry some blame, right? It's my fault, some responsibility. I'm taking the blame because I should have known better. I should have done things differently. All those things that we carry with us. So I think it's important, one, that we address that shame. We address those negative things that we think about ourselves, and we find ways to overcome them, right? Because my favorite saying is Ephesians 2:10, that God created us, right? He knew what we were going to be before we even knew who we were. So that's exciting, right? But when you're carrying that heaviness from shame and guilt and those emotions, you can't really get a chance to see what he has in store, what God has in store for you. So it's important that you really process some of those thoughts that you have, that negativity that you're carrying around, so that you can actually be open to receive what's next in your life.
Ooh, I'm excited. So it sounds like your session is going to help us get rid of these negative thoughts, know how to process them, and get
Yes.
rid of the shame thoughts because we really can't understand our identity in Christ as beloved or who we are with
Right.
with those thoughts there. Because you can say all the nice things you want to me about who God says I am, but if deep
Right.
down inside I carry shame and I feel
Mhm.
like, oh man, I should have known better. I'm at fault.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
I stayed too long, or this or that. And all
Right.
of those things are this happened because I stayed, or this person was impacted. And all those things are deep inside my heart. And I carry that shame. It's gonna be really hard for me to embrace the truth.
It is.
I just can't.
Yeah. And it's interesting to see because I think we as women, we really do that quite often, right? Anything that goes wrong with in our families, with our kids, we always try to find ways that we could have done something differently versus just accepting that sometimes things just happen, right? It's these relationships that we've been in, the women that are coming, it's like, I should have known better, I should have left sooner. It's like, why are you taking on that shame or that blame? You
Hmm.
love someone that was supposed to love you back, that was supposed to treat you a certain way, and they didn't. So that's really their shame to carry, not yours. But
Ooh.
really recognizing that and being able to constantly process that, because it is a daily thing you have to do. It's a daily, you have to be intentional when you are processing those negative thoughts. It can't be like, oh, I'm gonna say it today and then I'm good for the next 2 months. No, because when you have that one negative thought, what happens? You spiral, right? You start thinking about the next thing that's you did wrong, and the next thing, and the next thing, and next thing you know, you're stuck. It's
Mhm.
hard for you to move forward. It's hard for you to see anything. So that's why it's so important to really recognize those negative thoughts. Really talk about them, open them up, write them down, see what you're thinking about yourself, and then start asking yourself, is this true? Is what I'm thinking about myself true? And typically, it's not.
Mm. Wow. So does it really help when we're in community to be able to do this? What's the impact on us to rid ourselves of shame and sharing those secret thoughts when we have somebody safe to share it with in a safe community versus trying to do that on our own.
I find that it's powerful. If you think about people who go to grief counseling, right, or grief group, why the churches have grief groups. And I remember being able to share when losing my father with other people who had just lost their parents, how powerful that was. Because sometimes you feel like you're alone and what you're thinking is just, oh, something's wrong with me. And you don't realize that so many people think the same thing. Because one of the stages of guilt is bargaining, right? I call that the guilt stage where you're like, man, I should have done this differently. I wish I would have done this more, or the woulda, coulda, shouldas, right? But when you actually speak them out loud and realize that no, that's really not true. But being able to hear other people and see other people and experience that and having someone that you can share that with, it helps because as you actually after you hear yourself saying it over, you realize that why am I speaking this way about myself? Like, this is not true. And if you think about it, I sometimes even introduce the concept or the stages of grief when it comes to these relationships you've been in, right? You're
Mhm.
grieving this relationship, it's change, it's a loss that you're experiencing. So, not just a death of someone, you can grieve a job loss, you can grieve a relationship, your marriage loss, because you're going through those stages, right? You're going through that anger and that, I can't believe this, that denial, I can't believe this is happening, that bargaining where you're like, man, I wish I would have did this. Maybe it was me. If I could have cooked more, if I would have looked prettier, if I would have dressed up, if I'd have, all these things. And you're like, that gets you depressed, right? You're in that depression stage where you just don't want to do anything. And then you finally see the light and it's acceptance. And it's like, you know what? It wasn't me. I'm great. I'm here for a reason and I'm going to pursue that. And that's that stage where I'm going to take you to on this journey when we talk about from shame to grace, because we're hard on ourselves, right? When you think, Lauren, that you've done something wrong, you're trying to figure out how am I going to fix that? How am I going to handle that? And it's like, no, sometimes things just don't work out. Sometimes things are just the way they are. And being able to accept that and not beating yourself up for it. So giving yourself grace to know that it's okay. You're just going to keep moving forward.
Yes. Oh, I love that so much. And I feel like so many women, that's one of the things they find so much at this retreat is community. And I don't think they realize maybe like so many times I don't have the framework to say, this is also ridding me of shame.
Yeah.
Like to be in a community around other people that have been through what I've been through and to realize, whoa, me too. Like
Mhm.
I've struggled with those same things and those same thoughts and wrestled with it.
Mhm.
And yes, I was rejected in the same way. And I struggle with this loss and this grief. And these holidays hurt for me, or
Mhm.
this days hurt for me. And people that have not been through it just don't understand it. And sometimes can make you feel worse for feeling those things. Like, why would you feel bad about that? Look at what you have. Look at that.
Mhm.
But to be with somebody else that says, me too. I
Yep.
see you. I understand. Let me tell you about what God said to me in this. Let's grieve together. Like something about that really heals the heart.
Yes,
And
it
that
does.
happens at a retreat. That's why community is so powerful.
It
It,
is.
it's redeeming shame. It's getting rid of it, and you're embracing
Mm,
who the truth of who you are in Christ, and also just understanding you're not alone.
yep, that's huge. You made a really good point because I think about some of the clients I have worked with in the past, and some of them are like, I actually miss him over the holidays, or I think about him often, or and they're like, I must be something's wrong with me. I'm like, no, there's nothing wrong with you. It's very natural for you to still think about someone, even though you're not with them or they treated you poorly. That means you're a good person. You're a forgiving person. You're accepting person. Yes, you are now not with that person and you're trying to move on with your life, but don't beat yourself up because you sometimes miss that person. It's just natural and it's normal. And so, but people are hard, they get hard on themselves and think that there's something wrong with them because they still feel the way they feel about someone that did not treat them in the best way or disappointed them, um, and did not live up to their side of the marriage or the relationship.
Yes, and as survivors, it's so scary sharing that thing. It's sharing that with other people. I would feel safe in a therapy setting because I'm like, oh, you're getting paid to not judge me. In the real world, I'd be like, what?
Yeah.
You like, but I feel like here you can share those things because they understand, and it's just
Yes.
amazing. amazing
Yes.
thing. And so I'm so excited what you're sharing and everything. Can you give us a brief, like close us out with a brief highlight of maybe something you plan to share during the session that you're excited about?
Ooh, let's see. I'm gonna share some good stuff because you know I like to have a good time in my sessions, Lauren. I really like to have a good time.
Yes, you
On the
do.
main stage, I'm kind of just gonna give people a peek into shame and kind of what that all looks like. Good morning, Loopy. Um, so I'm going to just kind of highlight what shame is, but the actual intimate setting and the different sessions that I will actually leading the journeying from shame to grace, we're going to talk about over accommodation and assimilation. Those are two actions that many people take when they've experienced some form of trauma, right? They just over accommodate. They don't have good boundaries. They're like, sure, whatever. They want to keep the peace. They want to kind of just go with the flow. So we're
Mhm,
going to talk about those things because boundaries, sometimes we call it power and control. There's a module as well about power and control. Many of us don't realize that we don't have it because we're worried about how the other person's going to handle our boundaries, or we're worried about the repercussions of what that boundary is going to happen to our lives, or, it just gets a bit scary setting boundaries. So we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about assimilation. Just kind of just, even though you have your own opinion and thoughts about things, you're just kind of assimilating and going along with someone else's opinions and thoughts versus really sticking with your own. And when you're in those emotional abusive relationships or verbal abusive relationship, you never really got to see yourself. You're seeing what someone else is telling you should think and feel and believe. So you don't really have your own identity. So really recognizing those different traits and things will allow you to kind of see what you've been doing to yourself all along. And all right, now that I recognize these things, how do I get past them? What do I need to do? We need to really process them, right? And
mhm,
processing doesn't mean just one time we're just going to say, okay, yep, we got it, and now we're going to move on. No, it's work. It's work. Therapy is work. Overcoming shame is work. Giving yourself grace is work because we naturally tend to go to the negative when something happens. Negative
mhm,
thoughts about ourselves, negative beliefs about ourselves, negative emotions. It's a very, right, instantaneously we go, oh, I did something wrong. And it's like, no, we want to change that. We want you to say, I'm accepting it, but I know there's something on the other side.
mhm.
Yes.
Oh, I love that. I'm excited because I'm like, oh, I struggle with these things. I don't think there's anybody that's listening to this that does not struggle with shame in their life. It is
Yeah.
a common problem known to man, so or woman, but it is known. And so
Yes.
I'm excited about having these extra tools and understanding, like, wow, how can I deal with this? Because as a survivor, my mind does go worst case scenario, and
Yeah.
it's so afraid of being exposed for who I am, or
Mhm.
those deep dark lies that are hold deep in my heart, those things being
Yeah.
exposed and being true, and so you fight them. So it's a long journey and process. So I'm
It is.
excited,
It
so
is.
excited for your session and to hear and get some more tools to
Yeah.
continue
You
to
gotta you gotta pop in. You gotta pop
I'll be
in.
there. It's a main session, so
Right, right,
I will
right.
be there. Are you
Yeah.
doing a workshop as well? Or are you doing only
Yeah, I'm doing a workshop as well, yeah.
what
So the
workshop are you
workshop
doing?
is gonna be, I'm sorry?
What workshop? I guess go ahead with what the first talk will be, and then we'll go into the
Yeah,
workshop.
so what I just described is gonna be in the workshop.
Oh,
The
okay.
main stage will just really be about shame and understanding how that overcoming shame to embrace our belovedness, kind of the theme of the retreat. So that's really where we're going to be for the main stage. I will be doing breakout sessions as well. And that will get really into the nitty gritty of that over accommodation and assimilation I was sharing before, and giving you some tools to overcome that shame. And, being able to answer that question of who are you? Every time I ask people who you are, they kind of tell me their titles. Like, I'm a mother, I do this, I'm that, versus like you said, belovedness is like, what is your identity in Christ? Who are you supposed to be? What is your passion? What makes you happy and bring you joy and bring you peace? Are you doing something in your life right now that you're supposed to be doing? Like, I know I'm supposed to be a therapist, right? When I was first, Lord was like, yes, this is what you're supposed to be doing. I was like, no, but he was right. I found what I love to do. And so when you do that, it just feels, it's like you feel complete.
Yes.
Really being able to, identify that because many people don't. They don't
Mhm.
know, what am I supposed to be doing? I know I want to help people or I want to do this. How do you figure that out?
Oh, I love that. I'm looking forward to that workshop. I'm like, oh, everybody needs that. I'm so excited for
Yeah.
you to share on this. It's going to be such an amazing retreat. So if you're watching this and you've not signed up yet, there's a link at the top of this post where you can sign up to attend our retreat, and you'll get to hear Renee along with the
Right.
other speakers we featured this past month. And I am so looking forward to this. I
Yes.
eagerly anticipated all year long. It's one of my highlights. Just being together with all of y'all and just being in such a safe place, like as I said mentioned earlier, just to find community and
Yeah.
your authentic self and to feel like, wow, this person next to me understands and gets it. And like, I don't know, just giving that empathy and compassion to one another is super healing. And I'm so
Yeah.
excited about that, along with these amazing teachings, like the powerful weekend it's going to be for God to set so many people free to live out their identity, to live
Yeah.
differently than what shame defined them as. And I cannot wait.
I can't wait either to see you again, Lauren. And
Yes.
Tina, very, very good. I'm so glad to hear that. She talked about, finding healthy relationships and mutuality and learning to give to myself for the first time in my life. Yes.
Ooh, I
Yep.
love that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, so important because we as
It's so
survivors want
important.
to just overextend, over accommodate ourselves, and that lends itself to more abuse and more shame.
Exactly. You got it, Lauren. You can come on and teach with me then.
That is it so much.
That's so true.
I just speak from experience here. Go to Renee so you don't repeat everything I've done in life.
That's so true. That's so true. But good. It's
Oh,
always good to chat with you, Lauren, every single
yes.
year. So it's good.
Yes, it's so good. And then also, I wanted to mention we're still in a campaign right now to raise funds. So 25% of the women attending the retreat cannot afford to do so due to financial constraints. Coming out of abuse is horrifically awful on the finances, to put it lightly. Like most women have debt put in their name, they're struggling as a single mother to now get back into the career, and they need this healing, they need this help, but they're not able to afford it. And so we don't want to turn people away. We want them there. We want them to be healed and whole, and we believe God loves them, and we want them to know it. So we provide scholarships for women, and we have a process where they've all applied. We're not taking any more scholarship applications right now, and we vet them and we see who has needs and we meet the need accordingly. And so we're seeking to raise $45,000 by the end of March. So far, we have raised $15,000 so we can scholarship 31 women, which is awesome. But we
Yeah.
still have 69 more women left that desire scholarships. So if you feel led, definitely donate. If you're watching this, I'll drop a link in the comments below. And we are so excited for the retreat. So we cannot wait to see everybody there and to just such a fun reunion.
Yes.
As one person said, it's just like coming home each year. So thank you so much, Renee, for joining us
Of
again.
course,
And
Lauren, always.
yes, I look
I'll
forward
see
to
you
seeing
soon.
you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, the dates, May 2nd through May
Oh,
5th, right? The dates of
yes.
the retreat.
That would be important to share. If you're watching this and you're wondering, oh, when is this? It's May 2nd through the 5th in Lake Junaluska. We're going back there where we were 3 years
Mhm.
ago. So
Yes.
guess what? Actually, it would be 4 years ago by the time we hit the retreat. This is our fourth retreat. The two previous one were at different location, but
Yes.
we're going back to Lake Junaluska, and I'm really thrilled about that because
Yeah,
it's
it's
just such a
beautiful.
beautiful place, that
Yeah.
lake, and oh, I'm excited.
Yeah.
So well, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And yeah, if y'all have any questions for Renee, watching this later, no many, I'll come back and watch it over the weekend. Please leave comments below. She can reach out to her, and then I can drop a link as well when we're done here for you to be able to connect with Renee. If you hear this and you're like, I need to talk to her as a therapist and I need to connect with her, I'll put a way for you to get in touch with her office. So thank you again to everybody who joined us, and thank you to Renee.
Of course, Lauren. Nice talking to you.